Cancelled.
Schweezy.
Alright, so I wanted to talk about a show I watched on Disney Plus. Disney Plus, I actually specifically watched it with my mother. Because, for those who don't know, my dad died, and I'm here in Missouri helping her out. And, yeah, so it's fun to talk about. So when we eat dinner, I'd rather put anything on that's not a Hallmark film, because those drive me crazy, and then I start laughing at the dumbass fucking shit that goes on in a Hallmark movie, and then she gets mad, and it's a whole ordeal. It's a whole mess.
Man proposes and God disposes.
So, yeah, I wanted to talk about Big Shots, the show we watch on Disney Plus. It involves John Stamos, or to me, he'll always be Uncle Jesse to me. He'll always be Uncle Jesse. But he... Anyways, though, let me read, I guess, what Wikipedia has on the entire series. What the fuck those guys are talking about. From Wikipedia, the series follows Marvin Korn, a temperamental basketball coach who's fired from his job at the University at Wisconsin and relocates to California to coach a girls' basketball team at Westbrook School, an elite high school for girls. So, yeah, so I surprisingly really like this show. I normally wouldn't want to talk about it, but I feel like I feel like I do have to talk about it. I have to do the do today. So let's talk about. Let's just
Let's just jump into it.
See what's going on here in Big Shot. So and I think at the beginning of the show, I was like, I don't know, this isn't like my favorite show of all time. I'm like, I don't really care about this show. But I got invested. The storyline caught me. And you ever watch a show where you're like, yeah, I don't really care what happens in this show, or you're not that interested in it, but then you get, somehow you're invested into it. You get so invested into it, and you're like, okay, I have to see this through. So, I think they just released season 2, last month, and then, before that, they had season 1. And I have no clue if they're going to do a season 3. I think they could pull off a season 3. I would just say this is a good show that I feel like should... I always feel like, yeah, because it left it open for a season 3, but it also actually could have probably ended at season 2. That would have been good as well. It's kind of all up in the air at this point with it, so what they're going to do. But I think Disney, you should renew. I think it's ABC Productions. You should renew Big Shots and stuff like that, because it's better than Hallmark shows. I do like John Stamos, and it just seems weird. He does pull off, the college coach really well. He surprisingly pulls it off really well. I was really smart. I'm like, let's say, and he gets the initial first episode is he gets they kick him, they fire him from the coach. He was a NCAA champion coach, and so insanely good coach. He's Bill Self of the Kansas Jayhawks. That's how good he is. And he even mentioned in one episode that he was trying to recruit a kid, and I recruited a kid who was about to sign with Kansas. I'm like, about to sign with Kansas to go to Wisconsin? That's a big deal. Because, if you, for those of you who don't know anything about basketball, if you play for Kansas basketball, you only have to play there 1 year, and then you get to join the NBA. If you play with Kansas, you're just, usually you're ready to go. You're not even really in college. You're literally just there to play basketball. It's a weird. The NCAA is very weird. And we know small schools are a little bit different, but big schools, the ones that make a ton of money from their sports, you're basically just there to, it's basically a job. And it's a weird line that is because some of them, because it's a debate, oh, you're a college athlete, you're there to go to school, or are you there to further your sports career? And it's weird, and they always take the easiest fucking classes and shit like that. So, anyways, he moves from that because people got mad at him because he threw a chair, he threw a chair at a game because the ref made a bad call, and a lot of people agree the ref did make a bad call. I didn't really pay attention to that part too much. That was the first episode. It was a very, very cheap sequence made, and so the only place that'll hire him is a girls' school in California, which Wisconsin to California location-wise, a way better location. I'm just saying there. Wisconsin in the winter versus just normal weather. I think it's near San Diego, Santa Barbara, I want to say. So, the good part, like probably the best area of the world weather-wise to live in. So, that had to be nice for him. Yeah, so, I mean, that's cool. And stuff like that. But, it's like the teen drama too, and like sometimes the acting got really cheesy, and then sometimes it was like okay. My favorite part of the show is actually the girls on the team just like dealing with the drama because like girl drama is just so ridiculously stupid. Like they had like one subplot where a guy eventually the second season they have a boys school come in because their school got I don't know black mold or some shit. You may need to watch the show to get more details on it. But then, like, this one guy was like trying to date two of the girls on the basketball team, and like I was like wondering, like, how is this gonna end? Like, are the girls gonna end up hating each other? But surprisingly enough, when they found out, both the girls were like, "We're better than this," and they just hated the guy. That's how they decided to do it. They decided to hate the guy instead of like saying like, "You need to back up." No, you need to back up. I'm like. I remember watching that resolve. I'm like, wow, that resolved way better than I thought it was going to resolve. It's just like teen drama shows. Like I grew up on that shit. I mean, I watched The Secret Life of the American Teenager for the longest time. They talked about sex way too much on that show, and I'd rather see the sex than talk about it. Just being honest with everyone in the world, I think that's a fair thing to say. Would you rather watch sex or talk about it? Because when you talk about it, it just gets kind of weird. Sometimes when you're goofing around and talking about it's kind of fun, but anyways, yeah. But yeah, that was surprising. One thing I hated, basically there's like a plot, it started in season 2, there's Holly, she was basically Coach Corn or Uncle Jesse, whichever one you want to prefer, is his like assistant coach for the first season, and then the second season, she gets the full-time coach job at the rival school, and then in the same year she quits, and becomes the men's basketball coach of the school that's going to Westbrook now. It's better if you watch the show. I'm telling you, it's a lot better if you watch the show. So, like, that was interesting. So she became the boys' coach, and then Uncle Jesse, he was the girls' coach. And it's like, it's usually pretty interesting. It's like, usually guys coach guys, girls coach girls, or it's you don't usually see, and this just might be society, like a woman coaching a men's team. Like, you don't see, like, a lot of women, like, they're assistant coaches maybe, but they're never, like the head coach, So that was a cool kind of trope I liked in the show. But like, so the women in the show on the basketball team, they were like, I think most of them were like 20, 21, maybe 22, like age-wise. Maybe some of them were younger than that too. But they were like close enough in age to actual high school girls where they like pulled off the fact that like, hey, we're high school girls playing high school basketball. And also like, for the most part, girls don't become giants, and the ones that do become giant are very rare. The ones that become giants. So, but like, then like when the boys basketball team came in, like those guys were fucking giants. I'm like, they do not look like high school kids. And like, there's high school kids out there right now that are taller than me. I don't give a fuck. But like at the same time, like, they still did not look like these kids who were playing. I'm like, these are definitely like professional athletes. They look like professional athletes, and they're like humongous kids. It was fucking crazy. You're just like, and they did like a boys girls basketball game, and it's like the boys couldn't shoot inside the paint, which I assume is the painted area by the free throw line. I think that's the slang they were trying to say. I've never heard the term in the paint before. Basketball is the only sport I really like, and I'm assuming that's what it means. Like that painted area in the free throw line, you know what I'm saying? Which is good. And I was wondering, like, who would win, like, a really good... Because I think when I was in high school, we had a really good girls basketball team, and our boys basketball team just kind of was ass. Could just be the players or the coach. I don't know. Do I care about high school basketball? No. I'm going to care about the Sirens at Westbrook School. That's what we're talking about right now. And I was like curious. I'm like, well, the girls are like the really good players. Like they'll just like chuck the ball half like all the way across the court to someone all the way down there. They catch it and shoot. Like it's like impossible. And it's always down to the wire in these games. Like every game, it's just down to the very last seconds to see who wins. It was like by 1 or 2 points. Not realistic in real basketball. But yeah, they played like a boys girls game, and the girls won because that's when like they found out that one guy was cheating on 2 of the girls on the team, and Coach Holly, which seems like she was biased. Like I think she wanted the boys to win, but I think she wanted to support the girls because those were her girls too. Is like they wanted it more. That's what happened, and that's when like her and Holly and Uncle Jesse kissed, and I'm like, that seems like a bit forced reaction. Now my mom said she saw it coming, but I didn't. I just thought they were good coworkers and really good friends. I liked that dynamic between the two. Just like I don't know. It's just it could be like the professional in me because it's like yeah, there's like musicians who are women too, and like a lot of times it's just friendship, and very rarely do I want to do that because like you can be friends with someone but not necessarily like love their music, but they could just be successful in their own right. And it's just good to be friends with people. It's like you don't have to hate people because you don't like their music. But if like I was gonna date someone like and they were a musician and their music was ass, I don't want to fucking. I would not deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. That's not something I want to deal with. Another part of the show, it was so Uncle Jesse, he had a daughter named Emma on the show, and like and the mom were divorced. She got like a job like in somewhere in Europe, I feel like, teaching a class or whatever. So Emma was like, I can come live with you, and it was like the first season thing, and it was like fine. Her character kind of annoyed me because I feel like she had very much like I don't know if like this in real life. I know this is a TV show, but in real life it's like main character syndrome where they feel like everything should happen to them. It's really hard for me to describe it. Like she was mad, it's like Dad, I can't talk to a boy. You're the worst, and stuff like that. It's like that's just normal stuff. And then I need a better example. But like she didn't get the lead part in a play in the first season, and like she felt like she deserved it. And then like when you actually watched her audition, like this was pretty bad. It was not very good. And her dad gave her like his mom's old guitar. It was like this really nice Gibson acoustic guitar. She's like that. Like she just feels like she deserves everything. I don't know. She was kind of an annoying character. And then season 2, she starts playing basketball, and then she was obviously gonna start because she has I have to start, and it was like the coach's daughter. But then I think eventually she had to like not start because they found a new girl who was just a fucking prodigy, and she was upset about that. She was kind of annoying. But anyways, oh no, there was like my favorite part of this. I feel like this is the reason I was like, I'm gonna talk about this show on the podcast. It was just like, so I think at the end of season 2. Marvin Korn, Uncle Jesse, his coach from when he was in college, passed away, who he was very close with and looked up to as a father figure more than his actual father, which they did go into in season 1. And then like he fell, I don't know, and then that really shook him, and then they lost the final game, and like at the graduation, they made the high school graduation about him, and like all his old former athletes and colleagues and stuff like that came and like supported him. It was like, stand up if he's impacted your life. And they stand up, I'm like touched right in the field because that was my dad's funeral where like he had like, it was surprising because I had to be at his visitation, I had to be at his I was at his funeral and his visitation. I had to go to both. Well, I didn't have to. It was just I decided to be there. But he was like, he had so many like former like student athletes who were like from like the late 80s, early 90s when he started coaching. Was it the like maybe mid 80s? No, late 80s when he became a head coach. And so like that, they all came up and like wanted to talk about him, and like some are like coaches at like big like high schools now or other colleges too. Like it was insane. Like that part like just fucking punched me in the gut. And that's like, yeah, but that won't punch you in the gut. It doesn't relate to you. It only relates to me. This podcast is about me, folks. Anyways, though, go check out Big Shots Disney Plus. I like the show. If you like basketball, and or if your woman partner, or if you're a woman who doesn't like basketball and likes John Stamos, this must be the show for you. So definitely go check that out. Hey there, you just checked out a highlight from Cancel Schweezy. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you learned something and that you are now a smarter individual. Just so you know, we have full episodes and other many highlights available now. Click here for the next best thing that you can go check out as well. And make sure you press that subscribe button and press that notification bell. That way you get updated anytime we make a new post or anytime that we make a new highlight or full episode. So thank you, honk if you love butt drugs, and stay awesome.